Scientists agree. Facts are better than intuition for picking employees. Despite the vast amount of scientific literature that points this out, most organizations fill their jobs and make other employee selection decisions on the basis of something other than whether the candidate can do the job and whether they fit the culture of the organization. In other words, other than the facts. In this video, we will look at what a good employee is and the mechanics of how to hire good employees. We will also demonstrate that the same measurement methods work equally well for performance management and succession planning as they do for recruiting. What is the goal? The goal is to have the right people in the right jobs and to have them on the job when they are needed, on time in other words, and at a reasonable cost. So we get the benefit of having good people doing the work we need them to do. One of the most significant benefits, of course, is maximum profits. What does the right employee mean? The right employees are those who do the tasks that make up their job to or above standard, fit and contribute to the positive qualities of the organization's culture, stay as long as you want them to stay, and are as promotable as you want them to be. Performance must be measured to know if an employee is good or not, because good means that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and that can be measured. To be useful, the measurements need to be specific, behavioral, precise, and comprehensive. Specific. Most performance management systems are inadequate. They do not deconstruct jobs into prime success factors, the smallest units of behavior that contribute to success. Without breaking jobs down into their prime success factors, we do not know if the individual components of the job are being done well or badly, so we don't know if the job, the sum of its parts, is being done well or not. So, without being specific, we do not know if we have a well-performing or good employee. Specific also means single event. How do you give Superman a single grade for flying faster than the speed of a bullet and leaving tall buildings in a single bound? You cannot. You need 2 scores for these 2 events. Behavioral. One cannot measure the human quality of nice. One can measure the behaviors that are exemplars of nice, asking others how they are, asking about families, being attentive to cues given off by others, etc. These behaviors can be observed and noted. Other work behaviors, such as processes accounts payable accurately, are more obvious and can be measured very easily. Saying that someone has or does not have the skill or has not had the desired experience is not very useful information. If you are being imprecise, you find me and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the same category of knows how to play basketball. We need to establish how much of whatever it is we need, and in comparison, how much the candidate has. We think 1 to 5 scales are adequate. It could be 1 to 10, but I'm not sure how you can get 10 gradations of exhibits warmth toward others in an interview, even if there were 10 gradations. Hiring managers would just get headaches. So we suggest 1 through 5 scales from can't do it to the best in the world, or something like that. Comprehensive. Employees do not bring just their work skills to work, they bring all of themselves. So the analysis of whether someone is a good employee must include all the ways in which they interact with the job and their work surroundings. Can they do the job? How do you know? Generally you know because they have done it, or something a lot like it, in a comparable environment with comparable level of complexity and difficulty. A second part of that is whether they have the innate abilities or training to have accomplished all they say that they have accomplished. They have balanced ledgers. Can they add? They have written PR pieces. Can they write with fluidity and in a convincing manner? Do they have the temperament for the job? Are they an accountant? Do they like detail? Do they want to be a lumberjack? Do they like the outdoors? Do they fit the corporate culture? If the company is fast-paced, do they thrive in that environment, or do they wish for a more leisurely pace? If the organization is very social, are they as well, or is the person a loner? And do they fit the boss's personal culture? What idiosyncrasies does the boss have? Does the candidate match up well with them? We would need as many requirements as it takes to adequately describe the job, typically 30 to 35 for a professional level job. I'm sure that you know that these techniques for writing objectives are just exactly what you do to set up requirements for open positions. So as we go along, anytime we talk about performance management or recruiting, there's a parallel in the other one. We break down the job into prime success factors. We can then make sure we're looking at the 5 domains: task accomplishment, competency sufficient to do the task, wanting to do the tasks, fit with the boss, and fit with the company culture. Then we find candidates and screen them against the requirements. Again, imagine that we have 30 to 35 performance measurements for a professional level job. You can see how we can go from scores versus the 1 through 5 scales to a very simple and easy to understand graphical representation of performance. Simple and easy to understand deserves a few words. Most leaders loathe performance management. They don't really understand the components of work, nor how to measure them correctly, nor do they necessarily believe that performance management really has any impact on performance. Our view is that our job is to make everything about performance measurement and candidate evaluation as easy as possible for the managers of the talent, and most importantly, including understanding the results and the analysis of the measurement. The system we have evolved is intentionally very simple. We will show you over the next few minutes how easy it is for nearly everyone to understand. We have seen that our intention of being kind and considerate by demystifying performance or competence information has been rewarded by a very high degree of engagement in the process of employee management and candidate selection. By engaging managers in this way, you can provide an invaluable service to your employer. In this next example, we can see that this department is not a hotbed of excellence. Employees whose proficiency scores are shown in the columns range from quite good to not very good. What is the value of knowing this information? The data can help diagnose what has gone wrong in an underperforming work group. In this case, most of the employees got substandard scores on safety and sanitation. The data make it clear that remediation is needed. The department either needs more management emphasis or training or both. This could be a graph of a pool of candidates, revealing that people who have the skills you want are also likely to be light in the safety and sanitation requirements. So you need to look for other profiles or adjust or accept the training burden or putting safety into another person's job, etc. Applying these metrics to performance in a larger organization, we can see that the average scores of employees displayed in an organization chart format. Each rectangle is a person. Dark green indicates that the employee on average exceeds expectations. Light green equals meeting expectations, and red indicates that the employee on average falls short of expectations. We can look at the patterns in order to come up to a probable diagnosis of what's wrong and therefore how to fix it. You can see in this organization chart that the low performers are scattered throughout the organization. What do they all have in common? The corporate recruiter. We know that if presented with mediocre candidates, many hiring managers will get worn down and just take the best presented rather than rejecting candidates one after another, waiting for one who is actually qualified to show up. So these data would suggest a varied pool and worn down hiring managers who hired the best they saw in a given week. This organization chart, on the other hand, shows all the low-performing hires concentrated in one group. What do all the low-performing hires have in common? One manager. The other managers seem to have been able to hire good people. Would it not be special for the recruiting function to bring this to management's attention before someone blamed them for bad hires for which they are not entirely responsible? What could recruiting do to help? Recruiting could screen out low-performing hires so the hiring manager had to hire from a pool made up of only candidates who would become high performers. Scientists agree facts are better than intuition for making decisions, most specifically including decisions about candidates and employees. I hope that we have illustrated how fact-driven recruiting and talent management can help your organization improve your people decisions, improving productivity, and ultimately improving profits. Thank you very much. I'm John Wentworth. I've been a recruiter for almost 40 years. I've run Wentworth Recruiting for 32 and was a human resources manager and director in the early days. I hope that fact-driven methodologies give you some ideas about how you can influence your employment and talent management functions. Please call or write if you'd like to chat. It's not an imposition. As you might imagine, I love talking about this stuff. Thanks for watching.